want to send a message to the youth and to the teenagers. Not too long ago, there was this knock on my door. I go out, I check, no one's there. But I had my blinds open, so I was able to see that it was actually these teenagers going around knocking on people's doors and running around and thinking it was funny. So the first time, as I said, there was a knock, and I didn't really see it first. I opened the door, I saw someone who was the son of one of my neighbors, and I asked him, "Hey, did you knock on my door?" And he was like, "No, I didn't." Okay. But then, second time around, a while later, about 20 minutes later, same thing. Boom, 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 knock on the door, running and laughing. And so by this time, I could see them running by the side and all of that. So I waited and waited, saw them walking back up, and I went out there and I spoke to them. I went out there and I spoke to them. It was a bit of talking and a bit of putting them in their place. Okay? And I spoke to them, and one of the things that I told them is, and I really wish I'd said more, because after I thought about it, but after I corrected them and spoke to them, just let them know, listen, there's plenty of things that you can be doing with your time and your energy, all these things that I spoke to them. But also, I let them know, today you're meeting me, and I'm willing to come out here and talk to you, but next time, who will you meet? Because they're people, they're not going to talk to you. They will kill you. They will shoot you. They don't care if you're a child. So they went on about their business, and I've had no trouble since. But I wanted to really expound on some things. This is a time and this is an era where teenagers, youth are being killed and murdered by other teens, and a lot of times by adults. Adults who are tired, adults who don't care, adults who want an excuse. So what these boys thought were fun, to them, they're just having a good time. To them, they're just knocking on somebody's door. But the consequences and who they may face, it won't be a joke. And so I want to say to the youth and to the teens, don't let mischief take you out. Don't let disobedience lead you to your death, put you behind bars. Because right now, if you look at your life, there may be things you're doing. Start at home, not listening, maybe little mischievous things, and going knocking on doors and wrecking someone's mailbox and doing different things, whatever you may be doing in your community. Right now, those actions are setting you up to do more things. And perhaps if you look at your patterns, you may look at the little things you used to do, and then you see how you're doing a little more, and then it's going to be a little more. Mischief is always your dress rehearsal to bring you through that place of absolute destruction. Mischief and little things that you may do and get away with right now, and things that you can laugh about right now, is always the rehearsal, and it's prepping you for the time that you will cry. It's prepping you for the time you will scream for mercy. It's prepping you for the time you will beg for mercy. It's prepping you for time you may be begging mercy in front of a court, in front of a judge, or in front of a loaded gun, or worse yet, someone who has an axe. This is the times that we are in. These are the times we're in. And when I went and I spoke to those young boys, I could look in their eyes, their faces. At first they were just looking at me, and they have this look. I could see that mischief, even evil, in their faces, right in the center. This little beady mischief, dark, rude look in their face. But when I start to speak, they start to change. One of them, he was drinking water, and he was so nervous, his hands were shaking. The water was just slipping out his mouth. And they apologized. But you know what? I heard something that says, if apology was enough, we wouldn't need the police. And what teens have to understand is sometimes teens and young adults, especially the teens, they will do things And they think that when they get in trouble, people will just see them as a child. But there are people who don't care. There are people who are stressed. There are people that's going through things. There are people who have lost loved ones. There are people that could be suicidal, homicidal, depressed, just angry, just, as I said, just looking for a reason to lash out at somebody. And continuing to behave this way will lead you to this point where you'll meet somebody that's not going to be having it. There are adults that's walking around that hate kids, that hates teenagers, that has this thing against them, and they will kill you. They will hurt you. There was something on the news not too long ago. I believe it was two boys. They were best friends, and allegedly it was said that this man who was in the neighborhood believed that they kept messing around on his property. I think it was his mailbox or something like that. Allegedly. I don't know which one it was, or if at all. But he had some reason to believe these two boys who were best friends and lived in the area was messing with his property. And so what he ended up doing, like, I don't know if this happened for some time, somehow he was able to get those boys close enough to his house or in his house where he hacked them to death. He cut them up. They've even found brain matter around in his yard. And nobody knew where they were. And eventually, through, forensics and research and investigating, they were able to realize that this man had mutilated these boys, hacked them to death. Through their bodies, they're finding pieces of them in a little pond and all these little things. Also something else in the news, young boys in somebody else's yard. I think attempted robbery or whatever they tried to do, or just being a menace, whatever they were doing, thinking boys being boys. I can't remember. I think they tried to rob this person, and the person was sitting on the porch. They came up there, did something, and they were shot dead in the yard. And what happened? People are talking that they're just kids and they're just teenagers. But I'm here to tell parents and teenagers alike that people are not playing around. They're not looking at you as a teenager. You go up to someone being grown and acting like you're some sort of a brute beast and trying to hurt them and trying to harm them, they're not having it. They're going to shoot half your face off. They're people, they don't want you to die quick. They will bring you in that house somehow, find you, get a hold of you, and hurt you. There are people who you may mess with them and they get a hold of your siblings, your younger siblings, and do things horrible. You're living in times where there is darkness. There's darkness that would cause teens to do things that they may think is fun. But at the same time, it's preparing them for that person who don't care how old they are, who don't care that you're a boy, you're a teen boy, you're a teen girl. Those people will take your life. And while it may not be a life thing, you may do something provoking people at school. Some people come to school shooting and killing because they've been bullied. It's not justified, but some do that. Some do it out of just sheer wickedness, and others, they are getting back at being bullied. And then some, if you don't stop, you're going to go to jail. You may be going in and out of juvie right now. Look at your life. You're getting in trouble. You're giving your parents a hard time. You're giving your mom a hard time, your dad, your grandparents, whoever. You may be a problem at home. You're a problem at school. Now you can't even go to regular school. You're going to alternative school. You're on a path that's going to lead you to an alternative environment. If you can't do right in society, you're going to be behind bars. If you don't do right in society, you can find yourself getting the lethal injection. And those of you, you may not do anything. You just follow up. You just laugh along. You just run along. You're just playing. But watch your company and who you keep. You may say, I didn't do anything. I was just there. I would tell you, in certain parts of the country, and I can tell you in the state of Texas, if you were there when something happened, you're going to get charged too. You didn't pull the trigger, you were just in the car, you're going to get charged too. And there are other places that's like that. You'll be guilty by association. These type of conversations will fly over the heads of most teens, or it may hit right now, but then mischief takes over. But I tell you what, when that time comes and you're facing the consequences, you're not going to be laughing. And so it's always a warning to stop you. Your parents care, your mom care, your dad care, your siblings care, your grandmother care. I care enough to talk to you, to say, change your ways, change the direction that you're going in, because it's going to lead to destruction. It's going to could lead to your grave, could lead you to be in a place where someone dies and you were there. It can cause you were with some people that did some stuff. So you end up, people think you were a part of it, and it can cost you your whole household and your family and your life. And some of you may have a praying mom, a praying dad, you have a praying grandmother. You keep causing hurt and pain and doing this and making them cry and doing all these things and causing problems. And you're praying and praying, going, my grandma praying for me, my mom's praying for me, I'm fine. You feel like you're fine, but you know what? Sometimes they want you to be saved. Sometimes they want you to behave. But if you don't behave, sometimes the answered prayer will be to take you right off this earth. And while it may hurt you, it will stop you from doing the things that you're doing, and your family won't have to worry anymore. While they may mourn you for your loss, everything ends there, versus they're mourning right now and you're continuing to behave a certain way. So make your choices. You don't have to do this, because the things that you do today as a teenager, you may think it's no big deal. It is a big deal. The things that you do right now, the 14-year-old, 15, 16, 17-year-old you, is setting the path and setting the pace and setting the future for the adult you. All right, guys.